Nick's got his fingers in a tight space. What's happening there, Nick?
Today we are going to try and muck spread for the first time.
Nick might be getting slightly ahead of himself there.
So it's not got any life in it, so might have to charge the battery up.
Got a flat tyre situation. What do you think the problem is?
I think it's too cold.
We're just trying to guess where would Dad have put the PTO shaft?
That's not right.
So we haven't spread any muck yet since my dad died, and we kind of had it in mind that we probably would look to try and do some this February. So we spoke to my Uncle Peter, that's my dad's brother, and he suggested, because we're familiar with this tractor, Nick drove this for haymaking, that we might have a go at pulling the muck spreader, just make sure we don't overload it, and then we can use the Belarus 952 with the bucket on the front to load up the muck spreader. And so today's aim really is just to try and work out how to hitch the muck spreader up, get the PTO shaft on, try and switch the spreader on and see how it works, and just basically, because we're doing it for the first time, just trying to figure out how everything's going to fit together. And then if we feel like it, we may spread some muck.
I'm just trying to check a few things. I think this is the radiator. Just check we've got water, coolant, whatever in there. But the cap doesn't seem to want to come off, so don't want to force it.
Give it a wiggle.
We need two tractors, one to load it and then one to spread the muck. And we're going to give it a go with the old 885. We figured it out, yeah. You had to push it down, so you turn it 90 degrees and then it stops. You have to push it down, turn it again. So next, yeah, I'm just going to try and fire her up. Get it. Stop this. So that's it. That's if I can remember how to start it up.
Do we need to move these blocks away from under the wheels?
Eventually, yeah, but I'm just. So it's not got any life in it, so might have to charge the battery up.
So this is a battery booster.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the pressure of being filmed and doing it at the same time.
What do you think the problem is?
I think it's too cold.
Too cold?
Yeah.
Is that what that?
Yeah, it's not flashing because it's too cold.
tyre situation. While we were able to sort out putting some air in the tyre, that was no big deal. We had a bigger problem, which was that we couldn't adjust the height of the spreader and we couldn't adjust the height of the hitch or the attachment on the David Brown. So the two wouldn't marry up, so we had to swap back to the big tractor. It's the maiden voyage for the Muckmaster 2023. We got there in the end. The next thing on the list was to get the spreader turned on. So need to attach the PTO shaft from the tractor to the spreader, check that the spreader was greased up, etc. And we didn't know which PTO shaft to use or where the PTO shaft was. The next thing on the list was to get the spreader turned on. So need to attach the PTO shaft from the tractor to the spreader, check that the spreader was greased up, etc. And we didn't know which PTO shaft to use or where the PTO shaft was.
So the lifting mechanism on this is broken, we think, so let's have a look at that.
What are you looking for, Nick?
So I'm looking for the other part of the PTO shaft. You brought down half of it. I don't know where the other bit is. So
this is a complete mystery because we only really used one PTO shaft for the topper, and I bagged it up and I knew where it was all year, so I've just gone to get it out, and there's a piece missing, so we're both stumped, and we're actually just trying to look for the PTO for the spreader itself, which won't have been out for a year or two, so we're just trying to guess where would Dad have put the PTO shaft.
So we've checked the topper, we've checked the mower, we've checked the baler. Don't know, where else could it be?
Where to begin?
It's like a PTO graveyard in here. Found this one. I reckon that might do it.
So that is
Well,
one.
it's supposed to be oil.
Insanity had definitely set in at this point, hence the giggles and the silliness. Good morning. It is a lovely, calm, bright and still morning. We've had a really nice run of it after last week was gales and strong winds, completely different. This week has been calm and beautiful since Sunday, so I'm just checking up on the Highlands. They need water this morning, the young stock on the moor, and where the sheep are at the moment, the ewes, they also need water every day as it's dry, so that's keeping us occupied. And then on our radar is to try and get cracking with a little bit of muck spreading.
Yeah.
It's thirsty weather. You don't realise how much sheep drink until you have to take the water yourself, do you? We'd had various different setbacks and things taken us a lot longer than we had anticipated, but we were really keen to try and push on and make the most of the window in the weather. So despite the fact we couldn't get the David Brown going and we couldn't get the old Belarus MTZ tractor going, we thought we would just make the use of the one tractor and just see how we got on. We found that it was a slow process, using the one tractor to load, scoop the muck, load the spreader, and then reposition it and put the PTO shaft on. What's happening? So it's taken a long time this week to get to this point. We are finally spreading some muck. Got no idea really what we're doing, but we're doing it. Muck is flying out. So surely that's a good sign. Now it's Nick's turn. See how he enjoys it. I did think it was quite fun. There was a few teething problems on this run, but like with anything, we learn as we make mistakes and we learn as we go. But I think the most important thing is that we're not afraid to have a go, and we do learn from our mistakes. It's definitely frustrating when you're doing things for the first time and not entirely sure whether what you're doing is right and not really knowing what the correct way to do things is, but we use our common sense and we're not afraid to ask for advice or that kind of thing, but also we like to try and learn and think for ourselves because it's an important skill. That's the end of this instalment today. We are going to do a part 2 because we did manage to get a second tractor on the job and we refined our skills slightly. So we will bring you the second instalment pretty soon. So stay tuned for that. And thanks for watching, and hope that we provided a little bit of entertainment at least along the way with our struggles. Until next time, bye.